Hello world, this is H.L. Quist, and I am the Mythbuster, and this is no myth, folks. It's speculation, but it's not a myth. Get set, this is a game changer. This is perhaps some of the biggest news that we've heard in our lifetimes, and mine's been a long time. Okay. But the rumor is, and it's a buzz all over the country now, I don't know if you've heard it, but there is speculation that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are going to be used to reduce all of the mortgages that are underwater for 15 million homeowners in the United States of America. This announcement could come as soon as next Tuesday. So this is speculation, but it's coming from reliable sources. And when the Treasury Department denies that this is true, we know the way Washington works. That means that it's probably going to happen. But I speculated on this over a month ago in my newsletter I wrote in July. But when I saw it in Writers on the 6th of August last week, a gentleman by the name of James Pathakis, he wrote an article that pretty well covers this topic. So I'm going to take some of the information from his piece that appeared in Writers, which is, of course, an international news service. Just think of the ramifications of this. I mean, it's just it's mind-boggling. I mean, these could be gifts of $100, $200, $300, $400,000 to people that are struggling with their mortgages. So, but there's good news and there's bad news. But let's ask the question, why? Why is the government and why is Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac involved in the Treasury Department? Well, the loan programs like HAMP and all of these remediating and loan modification programs have failed. It's that simple. The other factor is that the real estate market is holding back the economy, and real estate sales, new home building, and everything, the shadow inventory and short sales have come to a stop and so forth. Obviously the market is looking very, very tenuous, and in fact values are decelerating or decreasing rather than improving. The economy is decelerating, which is a further issue to deal with. In fact, next week or so, the GDP, the gross domestic product numbers, could be revised down from originally 3% growth in the economy to 1%. That means that unemployment is going to escalate rather than improve. So you take all this into considerations, plus here's the biggie, is the elections. What a way to buy 15 million votes is to reduce your mortgage by a couple $100,000, which of course reduces the principal and interest payments and so forth. But this is big. This is really a game changer. Let me talk about the history first of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, because they're going to be the vehicle to do this program. All right. I'm an expert in the area. In fact, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, when I'm teaching my real estate class, which I have for 18 years now, I announced to the class, it's been 7 or 8 years now, that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, I called them the evil twins, and that they would fail. And boy, I got a lot of negative feedback on that. How could I possibly, they're doing all these wonderful things for home ownership in America and so forth. But I knew what was going on. They were cooking the books at Fannie Mae in particular. Franklin Raines was the president of the company, and they were reporting robust profits, $10 billion in 1 year, the last year he was there. The only problem is they were paying themselves bonuses based on these huge profits, and they were losing an equal amount. In fact, it was $11 billion in the last year that he was there. But there was a three-legged stool going on here. I call it a circle of corruption. It was not only Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, but it was Congress and the mortgage companies, in particular Countrywide. And here's the circle of corruption that was going on. And we know anything that is corrupt at that level is going to end. And that's another that reinforced me in my belief that these two GSEs, government-sponsored enterprises, of course, would fail. Congress was mandating that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac increase quotas on an annual basis and loan to people who would never pay it back. We know that now. We didn't know what was going on then. And the third part of this stool was Angelo Mazzillo at Countrywide and other lenders who were writing all of these loans and so forth, and eventually they were selling them both to Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae and to Wall Street, of course. But what was going on here while Franklin Raines and his people were profiteering and taking and scamming money off the top, they were paying huge contributions to Chris Dodd and Barney Frank and Maxine Waters and even the new Senator Barack Obama on the House Finance Committee and so forth. They were getting these huge contributions. Well, they turned out to be bribes, but they don't focus on that. And then, of course, Mazzillo, if you were a friend of Angelo, Franklin Raines had his home refinanced 4 times by Angelo Mazzillo and Countrywide. As a matter of fact, the investigation just recently that Congress was holding proved that there were 30 people as staff members at Fannie Mae that got special deals from Countrywide Mortgage Company. All right? Okay. But anyway, that is what was going on, and that's the backdrop of that. It had to fail. And it did, of course. Hank Paulson, who was then the Secretary of the Treasury, put these 8 GSEs into conservatorship. Okay? And what I'm going to do with you right now, for you, is connect the dots. And that was dot number 1. Why did the Secretary of Treasury put these GSEs into conservatorship rather than receivership? Okay? Because they wanted to do something with them later on, okay? And if you put them in receivership, you couldn't do that. But anyway, they're wards of the court, or the wards of the Treasury and the taxpayers, of course. Now, the other thing that happened is that Paulson soon announced that they would limit taxpayer money investment in these GSEs to $160 billion. Well, not but a couple months passed, and they increased that limit that we would fund these GSEs to $400 billion. And then they removed all restrictions. Dot number 2. Okay, then I really started thinking about this. What have they got in mind? What are they going to do? And then financial reform bill came along. Who were the architects? Barney Frank, Chris Dodd. The guys that were really part of this 3-legged corruption stool, or whatever you want to call it, this circle, this enterprise. They constructed the financial reform bill. And what did they do? They left out Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. In other words, they're free from regulation. Dot number 3. So at that point, just a month ago, I came to the conclusion that something was going to happen here, and I wrote it in my newsletter, which, if you'll respond to this email and this YouTube video this morning, I will get you a free copy of this newsletter, because I think you'll find it great reading and good insight. Now, the question is, too, what will be the results of this? Okay? Well, I taught a real estate class on Tuesday, and of course the real estate people, they're euphoric. It's a game changer. It's going to change the industry. And look at the food chain. You got architects, you've got builders, you've got appraisals, you've got all of these people that are dependent upon this industry that are going to be pleased. And of course the people that are underwater, that are about to lose their home, or going to walk from their mortgage, they're delighted also. Offsetting that, you got a group of people that are very angry, that are going to be very angry. Those people that have played by the rules, made their mortgages, or own their home debt-free, they're going to be object to the fact that they're using their money to pay down their mortgage. So we set up a whole, class conflict and whatever. But the whole purpose of this is to kick the can down the road, because the results are going to be this. Here's and it could be completely wrong, but I see an immediate devaluation of the U.S. dollar. What does that create? Inflation, and that's what they want. They won't tell you that, but that's what they want. They want real estate to appreciate, they want the stock market, they want the commodity market, create equity, refinance, and of course Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are going to offer loans to people that are not presently with them with what? New underwriting restrictions, or they're going to loosen the underwriting so that new people will qualify more easily. Where are we headed with this? Well, we're going to have a downturn in the economy, but this is a game changer. It's going to change sentiment, all right? And we're going to see inflation creep in. We're going to have the ultimate oxymoron, in my opinion, and that is an inflationary recession, which I think will lead to, with this unsustainable debt, to hyperinflation and, unfortunately, a crack-up boom. I've written about this extensively. You probably know about that. I've recorded any number of videos in that regard. So what's ahead, of course, we'll monitor this. But this is a game changer. The whole picture, we create more debt on top of other debt. It's unsustainable. Obviously, it's going to come to an end. Anything that's unsustainable will end. All right. That's my message for today. This is the Mythbuster. And until I speak to you again soon, goodbye.